Hello and welcome to my technical advice channel. This video is an attempt to help you with a very specific problem where you have unreliable access to a Wi-Fi printer from a Windows PC. So this is where your printer is connected to your network by talking wirelessly to your router just by Wi-Fi. It's not connected to devices by a cable. It's not connected to the network by a cable, and it's not manufacturer specific. I've seen this causing problems with Epson and HP Hewlett-Packard printers. The interesting aspect, if there's an Apple computer on the same network, typically that works. So your Apple printer seems to have no problem, but the Windows computer seems to have connection problems getting to the printer. The first solution is just to bypass the problem and connect the printer to the network physically. So if your printer is close enough to the router to connect them with an Ethernet cable and the printer has an Ethernet socket, then join them up with a cable, possibly adjust or reinstall the driver software, and that will probably resolve the problem. It has done for me in at least one situation. If that's not an option, then I'm going to suggest that you change the manufacturer's port setting in the printer driver to an IP address. So the way you do that is to find the printer properties in Windows. So in Windows 10 we can go to all settings, go for devices, printers and scanners. So there's my default printer, select that, manage, and open the printer properties. There are other routes to the printer properties from the control panel in Windows 7, but we'll use the help search function in Windows to actually find it. But you're looking for the properties window for your particular printer, and we're looking for the port tab because that's the thing that we're going to adjust. In this particular example, it's actually using a USB connection, so that is the current one that's ticked. We want to use an IP address, so you need to go to your printer, use the screen or the menu functions to find the network settings, print them off or view it on the screen on the printer to find what your or what the IP address of the printer currently is. Typically it will look like that entry there, 192.168.196, something like that, 4 groups of numbers separated by full stops. And if it actually matched that entry, so if I'd gone to my printer, found the IP address that it's set to, and it was that number, to use that IP address entry in this particular example, I could have just ticked that entry, clicked OK, and hope that it solves the problem. Actually, you probably do need to look at the configure port option there just to make sure that the port name and the IP address are the same. In this case it is, so that is actually the IP address that entry is using. All well and good, and we would then test that connection, print a test page, or try the scanner functionality to see if it works, and if it works, problem solved. If there wasn't a fortunate entry like that in the list to actually select, then you need to maybe change an entry that's not being used, or configure a new entry, configure a port, add a port, standard TCP, new port, go through the wizard to add a new port if you needed to add one that matched the IP address. The one consequence of adding this entry rather than using the existing entry is that the driver will stop checking for IP address changes. So if in the future the problem arose again where you lost connectivity, that will be the first place to look. Go to the properties ports list and make sure that the entry that you created or changed actually still matches the IP address of the printer after losing connectivity. Further piece of advice is that for HP printers, that description there where it says standard TCP IP port, the entry that the HP installation software creates is in this format, where it's the serial ID of the printer, HP network rediscovery port monitor. So that would be the text in there for an HP printer, and that's the one that you would change from. So you'd give up that, add a new one in the format that we just described there, and hopefully that would resolve the problem. I'm very interested to hear if this helps you with your situation. There are lots of videos on YouTube with lots of different printer problem solutions. Some of them suggest making IP entries for other problems as well, but this particular combination I haven't managed to find a video. So if this does resolve your problem, or if you've got more information to add or have different experience, please make a comment below. Thank you very much.